Hey guys, it's Asher from The Technique here, and today I'll be reviewing the camera that I'm actually using right now to record this video, and it's the Nikon D3300. It's an entry-level DSLR camera that can do 1080p video at up to 60 frames per second. It's a 24 megapixel camera, and it doesn't have a full-frame sensor. The focus on it might be a bit choppy, but I have it on continuous focus right now, and I think it's fine, so I'm just going to move in and out. And what I've done is I've mounted the microphone on a separate microphone stand just so that it doesn't pick up the autofocus noise. Now, on most DSLR cameras, it really does matter on what lens you have on it. Right now, on it, I have a Tamron 18-270mm f3.5 lens, and I have it sitting on just a generic tripod that you can get at Walmart if you're in America, or Aldi, or somewhere like that in Australia. Now, the build quality of this camera is made of plastic, but at least that means that it's quite light in the hand. But I do really like how Nikon always have their cameras very ergonomic. The camera does have a microphone input, and that is something that they actually took out in the next model up, the D3400. But it's a bit like the iPhone 7, how the microphone input is still there, but you have to buy a separate adapter, and that means you can't plug other things in at the same time. So, personally, there's not that much difference in the D3400 to this camera, but if you are looking for a newer camera, then that's always an option. It has the normal features that most DSLRs would have, with full manual control of the shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and etc. For instance, I took this out and had the shutter open for 10 seconds and took some night photos, or for 3 seconds and took some nice smooth photos of the waterfalls and stuff. And it has most of the features that an entry-level DSLR would at least have. But the real part that can be debatable for this camera is its video quality. Now, it does 1080p at 60 frames per second, like I said, and the video quality on it probably isn't the best, but it really matters about the lens that you have on it and all the settings that you have on the camera. When you're filming high-resolution videos and frame rates, what you do have to do is have a fast SD card, because in my first video that I uploaded, that was filmed with this camera, because after that I had a camcorder, but I borrowed this camera, and because I had a really slow SD card, I could only film 10 seconds at a time, so it was really quite annoying to edit. So I have a 16GB Class 10 SD card in that, and it performs quite well. It can't do 1080p at 60 frames per second at high quality all the time, but it can do 1080p at 60 frames per second at a lower quality. So I have many sample footages that I have, mostly B-roll, that I have captured with this camera with the same lens. Now this is to prove that you don't actually need a huge camera setup to get quality footage. As long as you have a photography eye and everything is set up, you can create quite stunning videos from it. Now for $3.99, does this deliver the quality that you pay for? I think that for the body alone, this price point is brilliant. For a photographer, it delivers all the basic features, except it doesn't have a full frame sensor. And for video, it can film up to 1080p at 60 frames per second. And although the focus may not be the best and it might be a bit choppy, if you have it on manual focus and if you're skilled with that, you can still create quite stunning videos with it. But would I recommend spending a little bit more money and getting a different camera? If you're just filming video and vlogging and stuff like that, this camera is a DSLR camera, and for something like that, some of the Sony mirrorless cameras are quite good for that, and they deliver things like better autofocus. But anybody that is just starting out with a DSLR camera, I think that this is just fine. And if your budget is still lower than this, there's always the D3300 and the D3100, which for video wise probably will be worse, but it will still be fine for photography.